Hello guys, welcome back to the channel and thanks for subscribing to the channel. Today we are going to learn about Laravel controllers in depth. So without wasting any time, let's start and create a new controller. For that, in the terminal, in here I will type php artisan make controller and give it a name like, for example, test controller, and hit enter. So our controller is ready. Now if we go to app, http and controllers, we can see our controller has been created. In here, let's create a new method. To create a new method, we will type public function and give it a name. For example, I will give it a name of index, and in here I will return this hi. So to access this method, I have to go to my routes web.php, and in here create a new route. So for that I will type route and give it a URL, for example test, and comma, open an array, then my controller name, which is test controller, colon class, and my method name, which is index. Copy and paste. Now let's run our project php artisan serve. So it's done. Now let's go. Now let's go to test. So as you guys can see, we have accessed our controller method which we wrote here. Now if I want to return a view, in here instead of hi I will type view and my view name. Let's say in the resource folder views I have a students dashboard. Let's return this one. So I will type here students, or let's copy it and paste it here. Now if we go and refresh the page, as you guys can see, we have accessed our view. With this we can also send a variable. For example, in here I will create a new variable like age is equal 12, and if I want to return age with this views, I will add a comma and I will type compact, and like a string I will type age. Now inside student dashboard, if I want to access that variable, I will just type here, for example, age is brackets and $, my variable name. So let's save and refresh the page. So as you guys can see, this is the way we can access the variable. Now let's see how we can access another method from the same controller. For example, in here I have another method, public function, and function, for example sums, and it have two parameters like a and b. Now in here I will say $a plus b, return this the sum of a and b. Now if in this method, if I want to access the sums, let's see how we can do that. For that, instead of age I will type, for example, $, this, and arrow key, and the method name, this, which is here, and I will send the parameters, which, for example, 2 and 3. Now let's go back to browser, refresh our page. As you guys can see, the return the sum of a and b. If I change it, for example, this one 10 and this one 20. Now save again, back to browser, refresh the page, and I got the sum of my two variables. So this is the way we can access the another method from the same controller. Now if I want to access another method from another controller, how I can do that? Let's cut this from here, and for example in this controller I will paste it here. Now I want to access sums from test controller. To do that, in here first I will create an instance of this controller, for example teachers, and new teachers controller, like this. Then in here, instead of this, I will type a, and I will type this variable. And now if I go to browser, refresh the page, as you guys can see, I access this method from another controller. But if I want to create this method as a private, so another controllers cannot access it, so now I will not be able to access this. So if I go back to browser and refresh, it will give me this error that does not exist. To access it, it must be public, so I will change it back to public. Now let's go back to browser, refresh the page, and if I change this to, for example, 4 and 5, refresh again. So this is the way we access another method from another controller. Now let's see how we can use a middleware in the controller. For that, in the top I will write public function construct, and in here I will type $this middleware and my middleware name. For example, in here I am going to use auth. So now if I go back to browser, refresh the page, as you guys can see, it automatically redirects me to the login page. Now if I go login, and you guys can see it shows me the page. But if I, for example, if I remove this and log out from the page, now if I go back to this route, which test, it allows me. So basically, if you want to use a middleware in your controller, so you have to use this construct function. So now let's jump to another topic. Okay, let's start by creating a new Laravel resource controller. So what is the Laravel resource controller? For example, in this controller I have an index method. If I want to access this, I have to create a new route for this and mention the method name in here. So suppose if I have 6-7 methods inside my disk controller, so for each I have to create a new route and add the method name. So to prevent this, we have a method which is a resourceful controller. To create that, in our terminal we will type php artisan make controller, give it a name, for example resource controller, and at the end we have to type -r. This will create a resourceful controller. Now let's hit enter, and now if I come to my controllers, as you guys can see, it has created a new controller with all the methods: index, create, store, show, edit, update, and destroy method, which is already created. So now in my web.php, I only have to write route : resource, give it a URL, for example resource, and mention my controller, which is resource controller : class. That's it. So in order to access this method, for example, let's type here return A, and in here for create I will type return B. So now if I go to resource URL, as you guys can see, I am inside this method, index method. Now if I type create, if I copy this, go here, resource / create, now as you guys can see, I am inside create method. So basically, if you there are each method have a URL type. So if you want to know more about it, you can go to Laravel documentation, Laravel resource controller. In here, and as you can guys should memorize all this. For example, for index we have get, for create the method route type is get, and also for store it's post. So you guys have to memorize this table. So this is it for Laravel controller, and thanks for watching. And if you like the video, please press the like and subscribe button, and see you guys in the next video.